Recording.
We're recording. Woohoo! Hello, everybody.
Hi. Welcome to Two Black Girls, One Rose.
We're two black-ass girls invade the whitest show on earth,
The Bachelor.
I'm Natasha.
And I'm Justine.
And we just watched a extremely messy episode.
Oh, my God.
Talk about she said, she said.
God.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
It was a mess. It was a good episode. I'll give it that. What were your initial thoughts?
My first thought is that I'm so happy we're getting a black hometown during Black History Month.
Yes.
So happy.
When you put it like that,
Yep.
I'm so excited now. That's so true.
Excited. Yep. This man, Colton here, okay, is way too close to the process of this show to be on this show. Like, that formula, I don't think worked out for this particular man. I know there are bachelorettes like Becca, who, like, were fresh off of a hometown from her own ass parents and then took another man home to her parents and was like, yeah, I'm going to marry this one instead, and it worked out for her.
Right.
I don't think this man is level-headed enough for this, and he
no.
is going absolutely bonkers, and I think his family knows that and did not take Hannah B seriously.
Nope.
And his mother was sitting there like, so how's it going, girl? You know, where do you like to eat? Like, she didn't really care. And I think they know why, because they know at the end of this is not his wife, and none of these girls are probably going to be. So
Yeah. That's a good point when you put it like that. Like, Colton is not stable enough for this. I
no,
feel like.
he's not even, I think he's stable enough for this show. I just think he needed at least another year.
He needed some time in between. Yeah. The
Yes.
quick turnaround was not for him.
No, because he's done this in the same 365 days he did this with Becca. This is way too
Right.
close.
No, way
And the
too
way
close.
he's talking to the girls too, the way he's saying like, oh yeah, I know how you feel. Yeah, no shit, you know how you feel. You were just doing this like 3 months ago.
Exactly.
So those are my initial thoughts. What about you?
That's a good point, though, because if we just take the way he acted on Paradise, he was trying to move into a new relationship with Tia and bawled his eyes out the minute Becca he got a whiff of her on the beach and lost it. And for some reason, we thought he was ready to be the Bachelor.
No, who's we?
Like,
I didn't.
I didn't think so. I was excited to watch The Virgin Bachelor,
Yes,
but
yeah.
I knew this young ass man was not gonna be ready for this.
Nope.
But yeah, we're seeing him crumble
Yeah.
under pressure, like with each passing episode.
And like relate to the girls a little too much.
Yeah, it's like a little too empathetic here.
Yeah.
Okay, my initial thoughts. I think one, the woman tell all is about to be lit. I know Katie's inbox is full after tonight's episode.
Yep.
Because she's sitting on a lot of tea that dictated the whole damn episode, basically.
Yeah, they've mentioned her name way too much.
Way too much. And I just cannot wait for all of the tea that will be spilled on the stage.
Yep.
It is going to get very messy. Also, initial thought, Colton is getting played like a rag doll on this show. We have a second week where he is making no moves. He is getting moved from left to right, up and down by these ladies. He's had so much just petty drama, she said, high school mean girls foolishness on this episode. None of these girls are ready for marriage, if you ask me. And as much as I love Tayshia, I might throw her ass in that too because she just got divorced.
I know.
She might not be ready either.
Yeah.
Kirpa, she just left an engagement. She ain't ready. Ain't nobody on this show is ready for marriage.
Not one.
Colton included.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
And I think Colton, you know how when they do the casting, they ask the lead, what types of girls are you into and things like that. I think he really played himself by not putting an age cap on the casting because they filled this legion of girls with such young 20-year-olds that I feel like he probably went in with the preferences. I'm open to all girls.
Everybody,
I will take, young, a little bit older, when he really should have went in there like, nah, I need somebody who's a bit older because he himself has a lot of maturing to do, it seems like, and is not fully emotionally ready to take on. I mean, he definitely is not ready for marriage. This is, like, insane.
No. That is laughable. Every time they say it, I'm like...
Yeah. And the fact that he is older than half of the ladies left and is supposed to be, like, the older, wiser one is just a joke.
Wait, he is?
I feel like...
Is that the premise they're going for?
I don't know. I mean, that's the premise.
I
but
missed
he's
it.
26 and he's left with three 23-year-olds. So he's allegedly supposed to be the older, wiser one in this relationship. And I think he kind of played himself out by not saying, like, I would prefer to date women who are a little bit older, mature.
Yeah.
And he's left with, like, these children, and they all just look ridiculous, if you ask me. It reminds me of my favorite line from, I know you hate this fucking show, but Girls from HBO. Lena Dunham.
Garbage.
I know you hate this show. One of my favorite lines ever is Adam says, I forget who he was talking to, but he was talking about somebody in a relationship, and the whole thing just seemed ridiculous to him. And he was like, you guys are just babies holding hands. That is one of my favorite lines.
I can hear that character saying that too.
Yes.
Adam Driver. Yeah, he's great.
It's like two adults playing adults. Yeah. Like trying to play adults.
Like toddlers really being boyfriend and girlfriend and like
yes, on the playground. You are babies holding hands on the playground.
Yep.
You're not fooling anyone. None of y'all know what you're doing. Nope. But you're claiming you want to be married and play house, and the whole thing just seems ridiculous to us watching it back home. So that's that. Third thought. Sorry, I have a lot of thoughts.
No, there's a lot happening.
A lot happening. Third thought is that the integrity of the show has just gone to shit at this point. Like, the show, you can't pretend that girls don't come on here for fame and for Instagram and for other motives. And I know you and I have talked about it on a past episode that it's almost stupid to come on the show without some type of ulterior motive.
Yeah, it's like Housewives.
Because you're leaving it to chance that you're going to be one out of 30 girls to actually find, get the final rose and get married and all that stuff at the end. That's a big long shot. So you need to come with some backup plan of some sort. So it's like, you can't even really fault the girls for having some type of, ulterior motive of some sort. So the whole talk of, like, right reasons, wrong reasons, when they're doing it on the show, it's just stupid. Because it's like, no one's here for the right reasons. Who are we kidding?
Especially this late in the game, like, you really don't know what's going to happen. Like, this man has so many feelings for literally, like, 5 different people. And you can't predict it. You got to just go with the flow.
Right. You can only hope and pray that it's you in the end, because sure, you do want to find love and marriage and all that stuff, but, like, the chances of it being you is pretty low. So I think this episode was interesting because we have 2 fan favorites / like Colton's leads, Caelynn and Cassie, who their motives of all people were brought into question. Yeah. And it was funny to watch how, I'll talk about this in my kind of like, our analysis. Yes. It was interesting to watch how the producers, you could see them scrambling to make sure Colton kept them in the end, or else they would seriously ruin the integrity of the show. If you have the 2 leads at this point, the top 1 and top 2 seed are revealed to be here not for the right reasons, as a fraud. So they had to do everything they could to make sure that they stayed. And it was just kind of interesting to see how that played out in the end. Like, I was like, I see what y'all doing here. I see exactly what y'all trying to do. But those are my thoughts. Before we get into the recap, we do have a special announcement. Next week for Hometown's episode, we will have some special guests on the podcast. We will be recording with our friends from the Escape to Reality podcast. Escape to Reality is a really good podcast. If you don't listen to them already, they recap a bunch of different shows on Bravo.
Every show except this one. Really.
Basically, yeah, they recap a bunch of different reality shows. They're heavy on Bravo. They were really known for their 90 Day Fiancé recap. So definitely go and listen to them. Justine and I recorded with them a few weeks ago, and we recapped 90 Day Fiancé with them, and it was so fun. And we're going to have them on the podcast next week for our Hometowns episode. So it's definitely going to be hilarious. They're Geneva and Justine, actually. It's another Justine.
Yep.
They're funny as shit. So I'm excited to hear their thoughts on Hometown for a show that they don't really watch. So
yeah, I was gonna say they don't really watch it.
Yeah,
so
they don't recap it. I know Geneva definitely watches, but they don't recap it. So it should be fun. So tune in next week for that. As always, we tell you every week, rate, review, subscribe. If you haven't written your review yet, please go and do that. Let us know what you think. And for your own convenience, subscribe to us so you get a notification every time we post a new episode. We also are live on Twitter. We live tweet every Monday, so definitely tune in and follow along with us on Twitter. Our handle is the number 2 BLK girls, the number 1 Rose.
And email us. We got a mid-show email this week that we're going to shout out. So if you just have so many thoughts, email us at the number 2 blackgirls, the number 1 rose @gmail.com. We also have call-outs. We haven't heard from anybody in the pageant world yet. Really looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, that's true. Send us an email. And then we're also on Instagram. Y'all, I've been going crazy with these memes, and I'm so proud of my memes.
I know, yeah. And we do some good polls, too. I do the polls on stories, and we have fun with them polls.
Yeah, so you should definitely follow us on Instagram if you aren't already. Our handle's the number 2 black girls, the number 1 rose. If you're listening to us right now, screenshot whatever platform you're listening to us, tag us in your story, tell everybody it's Wednesday and I'm listening to 2 Black Girls, 1 Rose. It's awesome. And share us with the world. Thanks. Justine, do we have some lovely church announcements? Take us to church, girl.
Open up them programs.
Yep.
So we have some church announcements from Karen, Jamie, Mara, and Annie. Annie's from Washington Heights. Shout out to you, girl. Everybody, shout out. Thank you for the love. And Amy, shout out to your idea for wine glasses for merch. We're working on it.
Yes.
We'll try. And we got an email from an MVP listener, you guys.
The email of all emails.
Of all emails. She emailed us in her hot tub with a rose. So props, set, okay, marking. On Valentine's Day, giving us a play-by-play of her Valentine's Day with her husband. Giving us why she loves us on this show, our perspective, all that. So shout out to her. We're not going to say her name, but keep her anonymous. But
live from the hot tub.
Yep, the best. So shout out to her.
Shout out. Is that it for church announcements?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, I do have some Bachelor Nation news.
Ooh, give us the tea, girl.
Started off nice and light. So Jason and Caitlyn, Jason Wolf of Wall Street, Caitlyn Bristow, are now Instagram official. They have posted they've posted couples photos to their timelines. You know, Jason's been like showing up in her stories for a minute, but now they both like did the official post. And she did this one post with this long ass message underneath.
Oh my god.
I definitely did not read it, but at the end it was like, thank you, Jason, you're the best.
You're the best ever. Okay, all right.
Yep. So they're a thing. And then other little light piece of news: Dr. Jackie from Ari's season.
From Ari's season.
So Jackie posted a photo on Instagram
with a black man.
Yes, on Valentine's Day. And when I first saw the photo, I almost freaked the fuck out because he looked like Kofi Siriboe.
Oh, wow.
Homeboy from Queen Sugar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Girls Trip.
Yeah.
When I first looked at it quickly, I was like, what? And then he wasn't tagged, and I was like, is she dating Kofi Siriboe?
No, I think he's still dating Ducky Thought.
That's what I thought, too. So I was like, what is happening? But Jackie was just playing everybody out because she ended up tagging him later and updated the little caption underneath and wrote, "Friends can be Valentines too, guys," with a winky face.
They were awfully close.
They were very close, but the guy in her picture was
her
just
friend.
Her friend, she says.
Okay, girl.
So that was that. But I was about to say, okay, Jackie, I see you out here with the swirl.
Right?
And your little Kofi Siriboe knockoff. All right, and then the last piece of news, guys. I did not want to report this, but
oh no,
I gotta report the news. And as we said, everybody going on these shows has some type of ulterior motive or some backstory or some skeletons that fall out the closet. So today, Us Weekly came out with an article. A source alleged that Tayshia was exclusively dating her ex-boyfriend of 10 months, Chase Allswang, up until the night before she left to go film The Bachelor.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't add up.
So yeah, the timeline is a little wonky.
Yeah.
Because she was married, divorced.
Yeah.
She met this guy in the interim, but so the source says they were serious. They're talking engagement. They're in marriage. So you know me, I'm like source.
Yeah,
who the fuck is the source?
engagement.
What the hell is this? Who's the source?
What?
But then Us Weekly interviewed my man Chase himself. Yep. Who confirmed that they met at a bar back in Newport Beach in November 2017, and they quoted him in the article saying, you know, we fell in love pretty quickly. He explained that they never had labels, but they were dating exclusively. It's 2019, modern dating. People confuse the fuck out of everybody.
Okay,
so.
all right, okay, yeah, yeah.
He said that they were dating exclusively. They weren't dating anybody else. And then he explained how the opportunity for the show came up, and she was going back and forth, wasn't sure whether she was going to go. As it got closer, I could kind of see changes between us, and I could kind of tell that she was leaning towards going, which she eventually ended up doing. And he says, I don't know all the exact reasons for why. But apparently since the show, they've been in communication and have seen each other. And that's pretty much all we know at this point. But yeah, I was I wanted to side-eye this whole thing so quick. And then when they brought in Chase himself told Us Weekly, I was like, ah, fuck.
I have a lot of questions about this whole thing. I have a lot of questions about this timeline.
The timeline, yeah.
This is really funky and really odd. Like, what? And then I also don't blame her for going on The Bachelor. She was dating some guy and he didn't put a label on it.
True that.
Like, I would go on The Bachelor too, because you're not my boyfriend. So, what?
Yeah.
Like,
ugh, the perks of modern dating.
Yeah.
This labelless, like nobody labels things and all this.
And then they want to go expose you in Us Weekly? Nigga, what? Please.
Yeah. Oh no, but it was a little like ugh to read.
Yeah.
But also, I'm at the point where I'm like, everybody is going on here with boyfriends and Instagram this and ulterior motive for that I don't even give a shit anymore.
Yeah, if you care. I don't even care about that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for Bachelor Nation news. Should we go into the recap?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So the episode opens and Colton is vlogging, back on the vlog.
Somebody put up a screenshot on Twitter that was like, "Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel." I was dying.
Yep, that's basically it.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, he's filming his YouTube channel. So Colton's back on the vlog, and this is fresh after he sent Katie home over Heather, which was just ridiculous. And Katie was the third person to tell him after Sydney and Demi that there are people in the house who are not ready. So he's kind of still talking about that and says, you know, anyways, the good news is at least we're going home to Denver. So they leave Asia and head to Denver, which is his hometown.
Yeah.
So we see the ladies arrive in Denver. Everyone's super nervous for the week because they know that Colton's head is probably all over the place with the Katie warning and Sydney warning and Demi warning and all that shit.
Everybody's warning, yeah.
Everybody's warning. And the fact that hometowns are next week, everyone's like freaking out. So meanwhile, Colton ends up meeting up with Mr. Ben Higgins.
Yeah, I thought this was odd.
Yeah, fellow baby bachelor. He too was 26 when he was the bachelor. And so Colton, he's saying that he wants answers. There's some people or someone who's here who aren't ready, and he's not sure how to figure that out. Mr. Ben Higgins, everybody loves Ben. He's like the sweetest little blah, 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 Bachelor Nation favorite. He speaks in like quotes.
Hallmark cards. Yeah.
Hallmark cards, home good wall decor. Like,
yes!
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those like
he's a live, laugh, love nigga, for sure.
Live, laugh, love nigga.
For sure.
All he said, or here's some of his highlights. Lean in. Be intentional.
Yo, that's one of the books that I have stacked up to keep my mic up. Lean in.
Lean in.
Get the fuck out of here, Ben Higgins.
Find the right one. Not a single word of advice was helpful.
I feel like, honestly, Sean should just be, like, the only one giving out advice.
The only one. Why are we getting advice from Ben when he
is single?
Himself is still single.
Yeah.
And has been on the Winter Games, this show, that show.
You might as well get Nick Viall up there.
Oh, they brought in Nick. I can't. Y'all really couldn't find nobody else. So he got some quote unquote advice from Ben Higgins. I ain't hearing no good nuggets in that.
No advice at all.
None. So the ladies, they all head to a park to meet up with Colton, who's there with his dog, cute little dog. Hannah B is already pissing me off. You see what she was wearing?
I did. That was crazy.
Hannah, it is daytime in Colorado. Where are you going?
She looked like she was going to One Oak.
I literally I wrote the same thing. I said, this is not Friday night at One Oak. I swear to God, that's in my notes.
Oh my God. It looked like Monday nights at One Oak.
What? Like, yeah, industry night. Yeah. Like, she had on a sheer black top. You could see her black bra underneath. It is noon in Colorado. They're walking dogs in the park. Where are you going, Hannah?
Just doing the most.
Doing the most.
The
Again,
most.
Louise.
Yeah. Damn.
Actually.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
So Colton says that the dates are going to start right now, and he picks Tayshia.
Let's go.
For the first one-on-one. And the two of them walk away, leaving the girls in the dust. Tayshia says in her confessional that Colton deserves to know the tea on who here isn't ready. In my eyes, outside of Tayshia and Kirpa, who are both like age appropriate.
Yeah.
For me, they've both been married and engaged. I don't know if either of them are ready to be married.
Yeah,
but
right.
Of everybody left, I would say that these two ladies are probably the most prepped.
Yes.
For marriage or engagement. But pretty much nobody else left is. So when she's saying like there's tea to be spilled, I'm like, the tea isn't even that juicy because none of these girls are ready. So I'm not sure what's the big reveal here, but she could have named any of the girls. I'm like, yep, we already know they're not ready. So anyways, time for Tayshia's one-on-one. And they are basically just like exploring downtown Denver. They go for food and wine. They're walking the dog. They go for ice cream. They stop off at this little fish market and pick up some like fresh fish that they're gonna go cook later. Having a grand old time. So they eventually stop for some wine and sit and chat. And Colton brings up to Tayshia, again, what Demi and Sydney and Katie had warned him, saying that there were someone or some people not ready in the house. He assures her that he knows that they weren't talking about her. Like, there's no way that they were talking about you, Tayshia. So he assures her that. Then Colton basically is telling Tayshia, like, so I'm gonna need you to spill the tea.
Yeah,
Like, I
Yep.
need you to just tell me everything that you know right now, because I basically only trust you in this house right now. So meanwhile, back at the house or at the suite, wherever they are, Cassie and Caelynn are sitting and having a chat. And are saying how they can't believe that Katie and Sydney and Demi left it the way that they did. And Cassie says that she thinks it's possible that Tayshia could say something on the date.
Yes.
Now, Caelynn, Miss North Carolina, she says quickly, she's like, well, she can only talk about the girl she's closest with in the house.
We got to keep that in mind. We got to bookmark that.
Bookmark that.
Yep.
The minute she said that, I knew that something was coming out about her ass. Because she said it so quickly. It's like a way she was trying to protect herself by saying that, you know, Tayshia and I are not close. So if she says anything about me, it has to be a lie.
She said she can only talk about the people she knows. I was like, bitch, now you don't know her? No
Now
Mariah Carey?
Suddenly y'all don't know each other? Like,
you don't know her now?
So she's already trying to distance herself from Tayshia.
Like all the way. 10-foot pole.
Like all the way distance herself, which to the viewers is insinuating that something's about to come out about her.
About her, yeah.
So let's go back to Tayshia's date now. So Tayshia, she just literally big old kettle of tea just spilled that shit all
literally all over the
ground.
place. It didn't pour out the spout. It was all over. All over
the place. She said, so there's been some disheartening conversations in the house about how some girls are, you know, not here for the right reasons. And she expressly name drops that I feel like Cassie and Caelynn aren't genuine and that they are the ones that Katie, Sydney, and Demi were talking about.
And he did pressure her. I will say that.
Yes.
I don't think that if he pressured her the way he did, she would have said names.
Yeah, I don't think she would have name dropped either.
Nope.
Because this is messy. Nobody wants to be this messy person right now. But he really put her on the spot, and she had to name drop somebody. So she names Cassie and Caelynn and says that she's pretty sure that's who Katie, Sydney, and Demi were talking about, saying that they might not be ready to get engaged at the end of this, and that both girls had a conversation about being the next Bachelorette. Saying that they don't know if they would get engaged at the end. And then also we're talking about all the parties that they'll get invited to and the people that they'll meet. And it was a lot.
It was detailed.
It was very detailed and sounded very much like this was a conversation that definitely happened because there was so many details that came out about things that both of these women said. So as she reveals all this, Colton just looks like he's like,
gonna throw up.
Kidding. Throw up, got shot in the heart, like all of the above. Time for the nighttime portion of their dates. And Colton and Tayshia go, is this his apartment that they go to?
That's what I thought it was, which I thought was a little crazy.
Like they didn't really explain or mention.
They didn't explain where it was, and they got that fish, so...
Right. They
guess.
just appeared in a kitchen in, I'm alleging to be Colton's apartment.
I guess.
And are cooking dinner together, salmon and some veggies. For some reason, Tayshia put Colton in control of the seasoning. And girl, I don't know what, that's a no.
Yeah, that is a hard no.
Because you already saw he was putting it on very sparingly. And
Of
she
course.
was like, oh, you can put a little bit more on. Nah, bruh. Step to the side. I got this.
I got this Old Bay in my purse.
It's everything. So go sit over there. So they sit and have a chat, and Colton asks Tayshia, like, how does her family feel about everything? You know, since she just recently broke up a marriage, like, are they ready to meet someone new? And Tayshia was very honest and said, my dad is going to be a bit apprehensive and closed off. He's definitely going to have some tough questions for you.
Excited about those?
Yep, he is definitely going to be hesitant. And she described her dad as a hard ass. So I am so ready for this hometown.
Me too. I feel like this is Rachel's hometown that I wanted, but didn't get.
Yes, because her dad wasn't there.
Because her dad has a job, okay? It could not be on nobody's Bachelor.
Hell no. But yeah, I think we're finally gonna get the tough black father who is like, what the hell is this?
Yes.
And who the hell are you?
Yes.
And I hope he comes with all the good questions.
Yep.
I really have high hopes for Tayshia's father. So Tayshia obviously ends up getting the date rose.
Happy.
So very exciting. She's going to hometowns, which we already knew. And they end up heading to the bedroom, his bedroom, whatever Airbnb they're in, bedroom, where he says this is where the magic doesn't happen. Hardy har. And then Tayshia like changes into this football jersey that has Underwood written on the back.
I thought that was kind of cute. I can't lie.
It was cute, but also Colton's like, I don't know. He was just doing a lot for me. He said,
He's an athlete. It's like a different thing.
I guess seeing a girl wearing your jersey with the name.
Yeah,
that,
it's like a
turns you
thing
on.
that they have. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
All the wives do it. I don't know.
Because he said, seeing her in the jersey with my name on it was possible foreshadowing for her taking my name in the future. I was like, sit down and relax.
Yeah, you retired like 3 years ago.
Right. Let's stop this.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like rolled around on the bed, making out and all that stuff. Back at the suite, a date card arrives, and it's another one-on-one going to Caelynn, Miss North Carolina. So we're going to try and get to the bottom of this messy stuff going on. Date card says, meet me in the Rockies. It's funny when, like, now when the date cards come for one-on-ones, like, it's just dead silent.
Yeah.
Like, there's no cheers.
Nope.
There's no fake smiles. Like, all that shit is done. It's getting real.
She was like really having a moment with Cassie, which I thought was weird.
Now the two of them.
Now I'm really looking at them with like under a microscope, and I'm like, so you feel bad that your friend didn't get the date with your man? That sounds weird, but okay,
Very
let's go with it.
strange.
Yeah, get to the Rockies, girl.
Yeah. The two of them are chummy /
They're too chummy for me.
I feel like they got a pact of some sort.
I feel like they do too. I feel like they have an alliance.
An alliance.
Yeah.
It's weird. I feel like I'm watching The Challenge and not like The Bachelor. Like,
And shout out to one of our listeners who emailed us something that some Reddit person found, saying that Kirpa and Tayshia last week were imitating Caelynn and Cassie, and the producers just edited it to make it look like Tayshia and Kirpa were saying we're gonna be the last two at the end.
at the end of the episode.
They were actually apparently imitating these two.
Okay, that makes sense because that was a little
That was
weird.
bizarre.
At the end of last week's episode, it was like Tayshia
Yeah.
and Kirpa it's like the two of them were like in a little twosome thing, cahoots. But so it seems like they were really imitating Cassie and Caelynn and maybe something that they had said. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, the next day, we see Tayshia and Kirpa sitting and catching up, and Tayshia spills how she basically told Colton everything. And Kirpa assures her that she'll co-sign everything that you just told Colton. If she gets one-on-one time sometime this week, she will let him know that she also knows that this is something that was talked about in the house and that these girls had these conversations about being the next Bachelor and all that foolishness. So, so we got somebody to back up Tayshia. Meanwhile, Caelynn goes off on her one-on-one, and her and Colton meet on like a snowy mountaintop, the Rockies. And for their date, they're going snowboarding. This is cool.
Cute.
Colton, he has to put on like this fake, happy, excited to see her
so fake.
face when he's obviously feeling some type of way, confused, salty, all kinds of shit underneath it all. But anyways, he goes through the date. They do their snowboarding, have fun, all that jazz. So they finally sit to have a chat. And Colton tells her, like, I do have something in the back of my mind. And he says, I had some questions for Tayshia yesterday. And she shared with me that you were one of the women.
Here he goes again. Tayshia said, here he goes. Here he goes again.
He said that you were one of the women who apparently is not quite ready, and there were comments being made about you not being ready to get engaged at the end, and how you've talked about wanting to be the next Bachelorette, and pretty much lays it all out there for her and says, you know, there are two sides to every story, so I do want to hear your side. While he was saying all this, I was watching Caelynn like very closely. Mm-hmm. She was listening, she was nodding, she like kind of acted surprised at some moments, but I didn't really get a big like shocked reaction from her. Like, her reaction to me, if someone is coming and saying lies about me, like someone just told me that you said you wanted to be the Bachelorette and you're not here to get engaged, and if all this is dead lie, I'm gonna show some type of emotion. She seemed too calm for me. Like, it was almost like she was trying to come up with her lie in her head.
Not even that. I feel like she was waiting for him to be done so she could say the lie that she wrote down in the journal the night before, and then have Cassie proofread it. Like,
oh shit. Yeah. There was no, like, not outrage, because even if you act too emotional, then that seems suspect, too. Yeah. But it was like, he was saying these things that if they were blatant lies, I would at least be like, wait, what? She said I wanted to be the Bachelor. Hold up a second, huh? Yeah. Like, little something, little interjections, but we didn't get any of that. She was just kind of, like, sitting and listening and nodding and, like, as you said, like, prepping her explanation in her head. I don't know. So Caelynn comes out and she says, you know, it terrifies me to know that I could lose you after this. These are all lies. The only person who knows if I'm ready for this is me and my heart. And it blows my mind that even talk of the Bachelor was brought up. That's something that never came out of my mouth. And Colton says, like, why would Tayshia, like, completely fabricate this? Like, where would this come from? And Caelynn, she just says, like, I'm not here for a boyfriend. I'm here for you. Those words none of them left my mouth. I'm 100% ready to get engaged and get married. And just was rambling on and on and on about
going on and on. At this point, okay, I was watching this episode with my mom, guys. And at this point, my mom actually said, you could tell that this man has no experience with women, not even as friends. Because the fact that he can't mediate these relationships with these people is really telling.
Yeah. He just doesn't have good follow-up questions or, like, good challenging rebuttals.
Right.
Like, she just laid out her heart and saying, like, I am here. He's saying all the right things. And he just eats it all up. He doesn't meet her back with, like, well, where would she come up with these lies? Or
right.
Was there ever any talk about the Bachelorette?
Yeah.
Is there anything that could have been misconstrued? Like, he doesn't even, like, come with that. He just
believes them.
Yeah, he just believes them. Just allows her to just spew all this stuff. He just ate it all up, and then he's just like, that's him mediating a conflict. Like, it's so strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can tell he doesn't have a lot of relationship experience, and
like in friendship or relationships. Like, it's crazy watching this.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Lord, God bless Colton.
I know.
He's getting run amok by these ladies.
Yeah.
So she says all her, you know, defense, whatever. And Caelynn, she says in her confessional, you know, she's coming for Tayshia, saying, like, I can't believe some insecure 28-year-old is running around the house spreading lies.
I have problems with this. I was going to give her Becky of the Week for this. What do you mean? Why did you have to bring up her age?
Because 28 to these girls is so old.
So old. So old.
So old.
That is so crazy. She sounds like a idiot on TV saying this 28-year-old girl running around this house. That is a perfectly normal age. What are you talking about? Oh my God.
She's trying to come at it. It's like a dig, like a little dig about her age, when it's like, that's not even a dig, because 28 is not old. You're trying to make it sound like it's like, relax, my friend.
Oh my God. That got on my nerves.
Yeah. So that was her little dig at Tayshia. She also said, I will call that stupid bitch out.
Yeah.
Did not appreciate that, but all right. Now Caelynn's coming out heavy and strong, trying to defend herself. And so, yeah. Time for the nighttime portion of their date. Caelynn, going into the nighttime, is not very confident that she's going to get a rose. Colton, on the other hand, he just looks tired and over all
Emotionally
of this.
drained.
Emotionally drained. He says in his confessionals, I feel more confused than ever.
Oh, Colton.
I'm headed into hometowns and I have no idea what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. You can't trust none of these girls.
None of them.
None. Not any one of them. Mm-mm. He does not know these women.
Nope.
It's been nothing but she said all season. Yep. You can't take any of these people's words for face value because you don't even know them.
Because you're too busy talking about what someone said about them.
Right. Exactly. You're too busy dealing with stupid drama, and you don't know any of these people, so you can't trust anybody's word at this point. Like, even Tayshia, to be honest, like, love Tayshia. Yeah. I don't think she's made up any of this shit. No. You have Kirpa to co-sign, and Katie, who left, and why would she make this shit up as she's leaving?
Right.
But even still, when you're in Colton's shoes, like, you can't even trust, you don't know who to trust. You can't trust anybody.
Exactly.
So he's out here just getting full on played. Caelynn, so they're sitting down for the little dinner. Caelynn, she's all teary-eyed, saying how, today she felt like he was about to get ripped away from her. She doesn't want to lose him. And then my girl Caelynn just lays it on thick.
Yeah.
Oh, she's doing a lot. Yes. She said, I hope it's us at the end of this, and we can get engaged and can get married and can have kids. And, I just want to tell you that I'm falling in love with you.
O.D.
O.D. Like,
she went in, okay?
She went in. It was a lot.
Just tell him the names of your kids, girl. I hope we have Colton Jr. I hope we have, just tell him everything. I hope we live here,
Right. She was laying their whole future out. It was just a bit much. Colton in that moment, completely forgot about the drama.
Oh, yeah, Yep.
Almost instantaneously gave her the date rose. Yep. And, basically said to her, after tonight, all my fears have gone away, and I know that I'm falling in love with you.
How? Because she said, no, I didn't say that.
Right, and I'm falling in love with you.
Yeah, and I could see our kids running around. Anyway.
So gives her the date rose. By giving her the date rose, he's in essence saying that Tayshia's a liar.
Tayshia lied. Yep.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's weird that he kept Tayshia around. Now he's keeping Caelynn around, even though Tayshia just told you some shit about Caelynn. It's
that is apparently your worst fear.
Right. So now you have a alleged liar in the house that you've kept around. So what are the standards now? I don't really understand. So anyways, they leave dinner. We don't get the double doors. Instead, they are suddenly
we get an amphitheater.
Right, the Red Rock Amphitheater, and Brett Young is performing.
Who the fuck?
I can't. Classic Bachelor.
Yep.
Back at the suite, another one-on-one date card arrives, and it goes to Hannah B.
Ugh.
My favorite. So Caelynn, now she grabs Tayshia because she needs to confront her about what was said about her and blah, blah, blah. So Tayshia explains that after Katie left, she gave Colton her warning and left the house. And then Colton came back to the girls and said, this is what Katie just said to me, and how Demi and Sydney also said that people were in the house that weren't there. And then he left them. And it sounds like the girls were all kind of hanging out. And Tayshia said the only people who acted defensively were you, Caelynn, and Cassie. And she said something like the rest of the girls in the house, we decided that you and Cassie were the ones that Katie and Sydney and Demi were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was very unclear, this whole explanation.
Very. And I feel like since they have no internet and no cell phones, these girls have a lot of conversations with each other, probably about what they do after the show. And some of it was probably misconstrued or misread or misheard. Mm-hmm. And that is where, like, all 6 of these girls, or 5, I guess, of these girls took it. Because they seem like the girls who don't have, like, an Instagram business.
Right.
These other girls seem to have Instagram businesses.
Right.
So.
But yeah, it seems, that exactly that. So Caelynn and Tayshia, they basically just go back and forth for a hot minute. Yeah. Bickering. Tayshia says, Colton asked me my opinion.
Yeah.
And asked me what was going on in the house, and so I gave it to him. And basically saying that she was kind of pushed into being the rat. But at the same time, like, these are things that Katie told her, and these are conversations that have been talked about. The whole bachelorette talk or whatever, this had been spreading around the house, so it's not like I just pulled this out of my ass.
Right.
Anyways, time for Hannah B's date. Her and Colton are driving a little fancy G-Wagon.
G-Wagon. I was like, is that his car?
Probably. And they were heading to some mystery place, and then we find out that they are going to Colton's parents' house.
This is crazy.
So Hannah B gets to meet Colton's mom, and ooh,
that zaddy.
Oh, Colton's dusty snack of a father. He is so banging. I'm sorry.
He is. I forgot.
Yes. First of all, he's like 6'6".
Yep.
He looks like Thor, like a giant, older, mature Thor.
Yep.
Just a solid brick of a man.
Yep. When I saw him too, and I remembered that post that Colton put up of him at prom, I was like, you know what, Colton? You probably had hope even then. When you were at prom in that Steve Harvey suit, and you look at your fine ass daddy, you knew one day you would be fine like him.
Right. That's true. He lucky he glowed up. But yeah, his dad is fine. Oh God. So Hannah B gets this really privileged moment.
What? For no reason.
No fucking reason. Like, why does she get this date?
Why did Caelynn not get this? I was so baffled by this.
Tayshia, any of the other girls.
Even Hannah G.
Literally any of the other girls besides Hannah B, because we learned later that he wasn't even into her like that.
He was
so
not
I don't
into
know
her,
why she got this date. Anyways, she meets the family. She, unfortunately, is wearing a cropped red sweatshirt and jeans. I actually felt sorry for the girl, because she obviously didn't know where she was going.
Yep.
And she's meeting the parents wearing a fucking belly shirt. Like, it sucks. So they're questioning her. She tells them, if it wasn't for Colton, I would have never come on. I would have never done this. And I just, watching the show, I liked the way he carried himself, yada, yada, yada. So Colton goes and sits and has a chat with his dad. And, he tells the dad about the comments that Tayshia, said to him. The dad immediately cuts him off and is like, you know what? I want you to trust your gut. You have to trust your gut rather than trusting someone else's comments. I personally don't agree with that.
Me either.
I feel as if the ladies spend more time with each other than Colton spends with them.
Yes.
I'm listening to every bit of tea that comes out of the house.
Yep.
Because these ladies know each other better than I know them.
Yep, exactly.
So the whole trust your gut, like, advice that the father gave, I don't know. I think
Colton knows, because he just did this, that this is a setup. Oh, this is a setup for you to fall in love with all 6 of these women. 7 of them. So your gut is not working the way it usually is.
You cannot trust your gut. Absolutely not. I don't think you should listen to every single thing that the ladies bring to you.
Yeah.
But you definitely, when someone comes to you saying allegations about somebody in the house, and so-and-so had a conversation about the Bachelorette, blah, 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 I have to listen to that. I'm listening to that over my damn gut at this point.
Yeah.
So... inside the house, the mom is chatting with Hannah B. You can tell the mom, as you said earlier, the mom ain't taking her seriously at all.
No, she knows this ain't the one.
This ain't the one. She asks her, like, have you talked to Colton about his feelings? What does he think about you? Hannah's like, well, I told him last week that I was falling in love with him, but I don't really know what he thinks about me. Yeah.
Sorry.
Like,
I have no reaction to that.
we actually get Colton's answer in the very next scene. 'Cause
We
he's
sure
sitting with
do.
his dad. And he tells the dad, Hannah B told me she's fallen in love, and I'm not there yet. So we literally got the answer 2 seconds later. The mom, again, sit with Hannah B. Are you in love with Colton? She's like, yes. And just looks ridiculous.
Embarrassing herself. Like,
I
I felt
know.
really bad.
So bad. Time for the nighttime portion of their date. Hannah B arrives in an absolute horrendous dress.
This is where she gets my Becky of the week.
For the dress alone.
This dress was
Oh,
heinous.
heinous. Where did
This-
she buy this?
This is one of those dresses. If you guys watch Patricia Bright on YouTube, she does these haul videos and she gets these dresses that she knows are hideous and she puts them on and roasts them. This
Oh,
is one of
wow.
those dresses
Yeah, this
where
is
she
really
literally
bad.
looks like she is going to put on like a fire extinguisher and jet off into space.
Oh, God.
Like, she looks crazy. She's so shiny. The shoulders are so big.
Yeah.
The sleeves are so long. The slit is ridiculous. It was so bad.
It was bad.
So bad. So you get my Becky of the week. This was bad enough.
Yeah.
I
To
know
me, it
pink is
looked
your
like-
color, girl, but goddamn.
She loves some pink. It looked like a 80s prom dress.
Yep.
Like the material, the high sleeves. It was a very odd dress.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Hated it. Hated it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why anyone would buy that. Like, it was very strange. Anyways, they sit down for dinner. Colton, now he came with a good question, finally.
Yes.
He says, I want to know what makes you think you're falling in love with me. Like, how do you know you're ready? Hannah B's answer, she says, I don't date to date. I date for marriage, especially at this point in my life. Which, girl, you're literally
You're 24.
Stop.
Okay. All right.
All right, girl. And she just says, like, I just feel good. It's just a really good feeling. She did not answer the question.
No,
This
she
was
sure didn't.
Probably one of the best questions Colton has ever asked on a date. And required a very straightforward answer.
Yep.
She did not give us that answer at all. Did not give an answer to the question. Now, Colton, in his confessional, he's already admitting, like, I'm not sure if I can match Hannah's feelings.
Yeah, like, I don't know about this.
I don't know about this, guys. Like, yeah, not looking good.
Yeah.
Quickly, back at the suite, group date card arrives, and the remaining girls, Hannah G, Cassie, Kirpa, and 22-year-old, never been kissed Heather, who is still here for some reason, will be going on the group date. Card says, saying goodbye is never easy. Just, you already know going into the date is about to be...
Yeah, like
that,
half of you gotta go.
Yeah, the tone alone from the date card is like, it's gonna fucking suck. Back at Hannah B's date. Now, Colton, he's already told the cameras, told every producer, told us,
Told his daddy.
told his dad that Hannah B is basically not the one, and
Yeah.
this ain't it. Finally tells Hannah B, you've been very open and honest this entire time, but coming into this week, I had to look in the mirror and ask myself, am I ready for us? And I just don't know if I'm there. And going into hometowns, I just can't shake your father's hand without having any doubts. So you need to leave right now, this instant.
Yeah.
Hannah B, she's stunned.
Yeah.
She is.
Anybody would be, I think.
Yeah, she was definitely feeling blindsided. She is tripping over her words.
Yeah.
She had her usual perma smile plastered on her face. But basically just said a whole bunch of nothing. Like, couldn't string the words together because she was just so shocked that she was going home right now in this moment. So Colton walks her out, and Hannah B had a little warning of her own.
Yeah, she did. She couldn't really string it together, but she did warn him.
She did warn him. She said, quote, listen to the people about things
Oh.
and people's intentions. That's, that's
How do you even take that seriously? Oh my God.
Listen to people about
things.
and people's intentions.
Like, what?
Is that code for listen to Tayshia?
Right. Or is it code for... Yeah, I don't know.
She said,
Who
listen
knows?
to people
Did she even
about
know that
things.
Tayshia said that? Like,
That's true. I don't know if she even said no.
yeah.
But either way, she gave a little
A
warning of her
warning?
own. Tried to string a little warning together.
Yeah.
And then packed up in the Suburban and headed off home. Back at the suite, the ladies are waiting around to see, is she coming back? Is she not? And in walks this big, sloppy, old, nasty looking white man.
My mom was like, who the hell is that?
They couldn't find a better looking PA to come in the room. This man looked disgusting.
Yo, he looked like he worked at the hotel, maybe the restaurant across the street. He just got off of delivering pizza. Who knows?
He looked like a stereotypical plumber who has that big old butt crack hanging out there.
Yes.
That's who they send in to grab Hannah B's suitcase. Good God. So that basically signaled to the ladies that
Hannah's going
went home. She's gone. Next day, time for the group date. We have 4 girls: Cassie, Kirpa, Heather, and Hannah G.
All blondes.
All blondes. Kirpa is kind of blonde, yes. Fake blonde, but
yeah,
kind of blonde. 4 ladies, only 2 roses will be given out. So the girls, they ride off in silence into the forest. And this old-timey train pulls up, and they go for a ride on the train, basically. Now, Colton is saying, hometowns are next week, and tells them, I want each of you feeling confident about bringing me into hometowns. So basically code for make sure you're here for the right reasons, because I literally do not have the heart strength to deal with any more mess.
Literally.
So the first person to grab him is 23-year-old Heather, who has now been kissed. Let me get it right. And Heather says to him, Colton, you're so special. And right now, I just don't think it's fair if I take you home to hometowns, because I don't know if I feel ready for that.
Perfect.
She didn't get my Becky of the Week. She got an honorary Becky of the Week in this moment.
Really?
Because this shit is just fucking whack. You let Katie go home last week.
Yeah.
Knowing damn well you were not ready.
Yep.
What was the point of you sticking around a whole nother week if you were just going to send yourself home right now?
She probably just wanted to see if they were going to another Asian country.
Shit was... Probably, yeah. Shit was so fucking whack. So whack, Heather. You should not have... She had no business even being on this show, period.
Yeah, at all. Yeah.
And then now what? She sends herself home. So stupid. So
yeah.
She boards a train and literally ships off. Couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Yeah.
Now we're left with Cassie, Kirpa, and Hannah G. Cassie, she's worried about what Tayshia said on the date. Kirpa chimes in and says, well, I heard about that conversation too. And I've actually been hearing about these rumors about this Bachelorette conversation, yada yada, back from Thailand, from Katie's mouth.
Yeah.
So Cassie, she's acting all shocked and, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. Now, Kirpa, she says in her confessional, if Colton wants clarity, I will give him clarity. Me, as a viewer, I also want clarity, because a lot of this is very confusing.
This is so foggy.
Very foggy. God. It sounds like Katie was there for that conversation, but she has passed it on to Tayshia and Kirpa.
Yes, her fellow minorities
in the house. This was a rumor that allegedly had been going around the house even before Katie dropped it on Colton.
Yeah, right.
Very confusing. Very, very confusing. What was I saying? So Cassie goes off on her one-on-one time. While she's off on her one-on-one time, Kirpa and Hannah G are talking. Kirpa confirms, we all know about the talk around the house and about this conversation that happened. Hannah G, in this moment, we haven't heard shit from her. She co-signs that yes, this was in fact a rumor conversation, something that swirled around the house, and that Cassie and Caelynn were involved. This is where Hannah G actually got my invite to the cookout.
Okay.
You know why?
Come on over, girl. This is your second invite, girl.
Yes.
Come on in.
Hannah G, I appreciate that she has stayed the fuck out this mess this whole entire episode.
And she's actually the most suspect, I would think.
Really?
Yeah. Judging from her like career, she's a content creator.
Right, and a model, and she came into the show with like 400,000 followers.
With mad Instagram followers.
I appreciate she stayed the fuck out of this mess. She, in this very quiet, subtle moment, co-signs what Kirpa said, but didn't run to Colton, didn't get involved, didn't do nothing. She is trying to quietly slide her ass into hometowns. And I appreciate the game. I appreciate it, Hannah.
Yeah.
You can come to my cookout.
Yep.
So fun.
That's true.
So Cassie, she's with her one-on-one time with Colton. Now Colton says to her, you know, hearing your name brought up terrified me. And Tayshia said to me that I could ask any of the other ladies in the house about this. The fact that Tayshia said that even further backs up that this is definitely a conversation. This Bachelorette shit is not a rumor. It actually happened. Because Tayshia would not say that if she had pulled it out of her ass.
Right. Yeah, she wouldn't say ask anyone else.
So
she'd say this is my opinion or whatever.
So it's definitely not looking good for Cassie.
No.
So Cassie, you know, she's on the defense. She says, you know, I don't know why girls are making up stuff like this. Then she puts on her fake ass little cry voice. Girl, the camera was full on zoomed in on her face.
Oh my God, into her pores.
Not a single tear dropped out of that tear duct. Mind you, she still had on that fake ass crying voice, like but literally no tears came out of the eyes. And Cassie, she gives her defense, and then she says, you know, I just think you're amazing. I think you'll fit right in with my family. Colton immediately starts beaming like an idiot.
Because he's in love with her already.
Already in love with her. He says in his interview, I don't think Cassie would ever go to the lengths of saying any of that stuff. This is where Colton gets my Becky of the week.
Thank you.
Yes, I just can't. Colton, you are literally getting played by a 23-year-old reality show veteran, my dude. She was on another show. She was a Bible show at that, but still. It was a Bible show about Christians finding love or whatever the fuck that show was about. But she was on another show. If anyone is not here for the right reasons or for dubious reason, it is this girl right here. And you are so in love with her. She could do no wrong. And you were getting played the fuck out. It is nuts. Kirpa gets her one-on-one time with Colton. She says to him, you know, I don't want you at the end of all this to be blindsided, and basically was saying, like, take it from me, someone who was literally recently broken up an engagement, that like it's not fun going into an engagement and this shit not working out. And she says to him, like, I don't think Cassie and Caelynn are ready, and you know, I want to tell you everything that I know. Kirpa tells Colton, you know, after your speech in Vietnam about what Katie told you, same thing that Tayshia said earlier. Cassie and Caelynn were the only two women who basically started to panic and clearly got very defensive about who Katie was talking about and blah, 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 blah. And so she kind of gives her opinion or side of things to Colton. Now Kirpa goes back to the ladies, Hannah G and Cassie, tells them exactly what she said, and says that, you know, Katie told me about this conversation that was had, and she doesn't think Katie would make this up, especially as she's like leaving the house. Like, what the fuck? Why would she do that?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Now here comes Cassie looking guilty as shit, defensive as all hell.
Yep.
Jesus. You know, well, that's a lie. Why are you going around spreading lies? And Kirpa's like, Katie told us. Like,
yeah.
This is not...
This is where Kirpa got my invite to the cookout.
Okay, Kirpa.
Because Kirpa's not afraid of smoke. Okay. Even though it's Biola College smoke, she's still not scared. And I appreciate that. She stood by it. She said, I'm going to tell him if I want to. She told him. And then she confronted your girl about it. Love it.
And she said, as everyone at home, at least for me, what I was thinking, she said, why would Katie make this up?
Make this up.
What would be Katie's motive to make this up? Like, very detailed conversation about the Bachelorette, not want to get married, want to go to parties and all that shit. That's a lot of details to then just poof out of thin air. So,
right.
So for me, after that whole confrontation with Cassie just looking guilty of shit, my verdict was that this conversation definitely happened. Cassie and Caelynn are 100% lying. Yes. I'm definitely going to trust Tayshia and Kirpa over Becky 1 and 2 any day. So that's
and I think, I know Ashley Spivey was on Twitter talking about this, but I think if there was conversation about what would happen after the show if they lost, they should have said that to him.
Right. Because that probably
they should have been 100.
Yeah, that could have been maybe what had gotten misconstrued. Like, well, we did have a conversation, you know, someone brought up like Bachelorette and we all kind of like talked about it or whatever. And, you know, or if we didn't win, what would our life look like? Blah, 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 blah. But they are just flat out denying everything. They're saying none of this happened, that none of these words came out of their mouth. And that to me is where they look hella suspect and just blatantly lying, basically. So Colton, he joins the ladies, he grabs the 2 date roses and tells them, you know, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, so I want to continue the conversations into the evening. Time for the nighttime portion of the date. All 3 ladies arrive at this fucking haunted mansion.
Scary.
Finding these haunted ass houses.
And that's where they're staying.
That's where they were staying?
Yeah.
Oh, God. She looked terrible.
Yep.
So they arrive at this mansion, and they're sitting around this massive round table across from Colton.
Yeah.
And Colton, you know, immediately says, you know, I told you ladies I needed some clarity tonight, and I did get clarity on one thing. Hannah, can we talk? Like, literally, they just sat down.
Yeah.
No conversation,
no
no
dinner, no drink, no nothing.
Immediately whisks Hannah outside. Kirpa and Cassie are sitting inside, just like awkwardly in silence, because the 2 of them can't stand each other at this point. And all we hear in the background is Hannah G outside, just like giggling and all that stuff.
And the clock ticking, mad loud.
Right, the fucking grandfather clock.
Yes, with the pendulum swinging.
Dumb loud. Colton comes back inside and grabs one of the date roses. Heads back out, gives it to Hannah. And so now we're down to Kirpa versus Cassie, basically. Who the fuck's gonna get the rose? Back at the suite, Caelynn and Tayshia are sitting and chit-chatting about, you know, what's gonna happen. Suddenly, we hear someone enter the suite, and it's Hannah G. So she is already home with her rose. And tells the ladies how, you know, Cassie and Kirpa had a big confrontation earlier today. Back at the haunted mansion, Kirpa is sitting with Colton for her one-on-one. And, you know, they're chatting and they kiss. And, you know, we hear her say something like, if we continue on this path, it'll lead to something great. And seems like they had a good, positive moment. We didn't really get the full one-on-one time. Definitely seems like we missed a lot, but... you know, at least it looked like they ended on good terms. And then she heads back downstairs, back to sit at that big-ass table next to Cassie. Meanwhile, out of the fucking blue, out of nowhere, we see Caelynn walking up the driveway to the mansion.
Oh, my God.
So random. Yeah. She goes inside the house. She walks past Cassie and Kirpa without saying anything, and they're looking at her like, what the fuck is this? And she heads right upstairs to find Colton. Now, this shit just was dumb as hell to me. It felt so producer orchestrated and producer influenced.
Producer. Oh my God.
It reeked of producer.
Even a writer. Like, don't they have like writers on the show? Like, even I feel like they had multiple people putting this story together.
Put this whole thing together. Yeah. Like, why is Caelynn here? Her only reason to be here is to be allowed to defend Cassie, basically, in hope of swaying gullible-ass Colton into keeping her around, which is exactly the narrative that the producers want, because they cannot have Tayshia and Kirpa come with some tea on the two,
Faves.
Leads, the two faves,
Yeah.
and not have them stay. That would completely just crush the season and ruin the whole integrity of the show.
Yep. And maybe they had plans for
and-
one of them to be the Bachelorette already.
Right, or something. So this shit was just so forced and whack. So Caelynn heads upstairs. She finds Colton. He's obviously shocked to see her. What are you doing here? And she sits down with him and says, knowing that you're not getting the full truth kills me. I just want to say again that all of these things were lies, and knowing that you might send home someone who you have a connection with, it just isn't fair.
Oh my God.
So it's just her last ditch effort to like try and save her homegirl Cassie. So Caelynn leaves, and Colton returns back downstairs, grabs the date rose, and says, I have to continue to trust my gut and follow my heart and be confident in the decisions I make. And then he awards the rose to Cassie. This is so lame, and it's just weird. Like, does Colton realize that by keeping Cassie and Caelynn around, he's essentially calling Tayshia
a liar,
Kirpa, Tayshia, who's still here, a liar, as well as Kirpa and Katie. All three of them are just liars?
Right.
Like, that's bizarre.
And we all know good and goddamn well Sydney was also talking about these two ladies.
Hell yeah. You know for damn sure Sydney was talking about them. Demi, who the fuck knows who Demi was talking about?
Knows?
Who knows? But Sydney was definitely in that same conversation with Katie and heard the same shit. So it's just so weird. Like, you're taking Tayshia on hometowns.
Yeah.
After you just kept around the two girls that she told you were saying shit. Now you're calling her a liar, but you're taking her home. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Anyways, Cassie gets the rose. In the end, we see them kissing, and Colton says, I'm excited to meet Cassie's family because I'm falling in love with her.
Like, okay.
And that was the episode, my friends.
That's it, guys.
Oh my God. Colton is one of the most, like, just unbachelor bachelors.
Yeah. Wow.
Not ready for this. Getting run amok by the process, by the producers, by the ladies.
Yeah, by every element.
Every element.
Everybody.
Yeah, I feel like we're not getting any bold, strong choices by Colton, any bold, strong moves by Colton.
I personally don't have any bold favorites.
I don't have many bold favorites.
Tayshia is definitely love Tayshia.
I guess, yeah. But
she's forced in this position to where
now
we have
she's
to
in a
look
weird
at her in
light.
a different light.
Yeah.
And Us Weekly is trying to dig up her life. Like,
yeah. So it's like, I don't even know how to feel about anybody left.
Yeah,
to be
no,
honest.
he's just not doing a good job.
Yeah, not at all. So that was the episode. We did get a quick preview of Hometowns.
Yep.
So we're meeting Caelynn's parents and family, Tayshia, Hannah G, and who the fuck is left?
Caelynn, Hannah G.
Cassie.
Cassie.
And Cassie. All right, let's get them straight. So a couple quick things we saw. I saw a lot of big ass hometowns. Like, people are bringing their entire families.
Everybody.
Why is your auntie, your uncles, your cousins, why do they all need to be at hometowns? Why? I don't care about y'all opinions.
Right.
I need my mom and my dad and my siblings, and that's about fucking it.
That's the thing. I need whoever is going to pressure them the most. Who was Becca's uncle with the cane?
Yes, Uncle Gary.
Uncle Gary.
Uncle
That's
Gary.
all you need. You only need one good Uncle Gary, whoever that is in your life. Whether that's your grandma, your cousin, whatever. But you don't need everybody in your extended, the whole Thanksgiving table.
That's too much. Just way too much. So we saw a lot of giant hometowns, so that's going to be interesting. We saw Tayshia's dad. He looked like he was looking sideways at Colton. It looks like
He
Colton...
looked like he wears like a rope chain underneath all his undershirts.
A big old thick gold rope chain. It seems like Colton's gonna ask for a blessing to propose, and
he's like,
Tayshia's dad is exactly. black father boy.
Oh, he's the boy.
I can't wait to see that.
Me either.
We see Cassie, I think it was Cassie's father, saying in his little interview, he seems like a guy dating my daughter. Like crickets.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't even string together anything nice to say about him. And that was all the little quick things I grabbed from the preview. Mm-hmm. And that's the episode, my friends.
That's it.
That's it. We'll be back next week recapping Hometowns with Escape to Reality podcast. Nice little crossover episode.
Yeah.
Should be a lot of fun. And as always, please rate, review, subscribe. Hit us up on Twitter. The handle is the number 2 BLK girls, the number 1 Rose.
And email us at the number 2 blackgirls, the number 1 rose@gmail.com.
Yep, and hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up
Instagram.
on Instagram. The number 2 Black Girls 1 Rose. Tag us in your story. Share us with the world. You know, send us a DM.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
And buy some merch at Teespring.
Yes,
Go buy some
merch. Sorry. Yes, somebody sent us a Twitter photo of her mug. Loved it.
Oh,
Yes, talking about she was sipping on tea with her 2 Black Girls 1 Rose mug. Loved
awesome.
it. But yes, teespring.com/2 Black Girls 1 Rose. And we'll be back next week.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.